We have our guest interview of the afternoon.
Let's go.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, we're excited because we were just talking actually off camera before we came on about the interest that we've seen over the past couple of weeks come back into the small cap world in general. And we're going to kind of dissect and get into how to look for maybe the next unicorn and the next big winner that could come over the next months, maybe weeks, maybe even a year or so. Sheldon Inwentash is the CEO of 3D Capital. It's so good to have you in the studio. It's a rarity for us right now because, as you saw, we're under a little bit of a construction project right now. So thanks for coming by. We appreciate it.
No, this is a great opportunity, and so thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, our pleasure. Let's dive right in because I think there's a lot to discuss. You're a guy who has all kinds of experience in this field and doing what you're doing currently. Why don't we start with a little bit of a background on you first, and then we'll get into 3D.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. I won't try not to take up the whole show because I'm not a young guy. But I've been in basically started off as a CPA in my academic career, but went and became an analyst in oil and gas, and then started to build early stage companies. I'm known for a company called Palantir Capital, which I founded in 1992. Basically took over Shell at 10 cents, and then basically we exited at $26, and it was basically building a number of companies from the ground floor. Seed, pre-seed, helping them grow and then exit, and probably in the throes raising over $30 billion for these companies. So 3D Capital is basically the second incarnation of what Palantir did through that period of time.
So people can almost look at it as you were saying, before we came on camera here, it's the arc, if you will, of the Canadian side of things, but we're looking at a grander scale in sense. And tell us a little bit about the theory here. Tell us a little bit about how we find that next big winner, that next big unicorn.
Sure. Like we've been, after you've been involved in companies that you've built and you've exited, and investors have had a great experience, you tend to get some pretty top quality deal flow. And we've been basically, I should position this, stealth for a number of years. Up until now, we believe the second half of this year, many of the companies that came to us and we backed and we funded for the last 7 or 8 years are now commercializing. So I don't really want to be here to arm wave and say, guess what? We're going to find the next cure to this and we really know that what we're doing.
Sure.
No, it's all about commercialization, exit. I think investors today are show me, they want to see results, and that's really why I'm on this show today, to debut us with your audience, to watch us, to have the eyeballs, to be patient. I believe our stock has bottomed. We've not been very newsworthy, although we did make an announcement yesterday around DeLorean, Web3. But we basically have felt that it's a launch pad now for things to talk about, and there's many things to talk about.
You hinted on one there. Let's talk about maybe a few others in the portfolio. Give us some highlight.
Sure. We have an extremely disruptive company in the micropayment space that is launching right now with Oracle, Google, and then a couple major banks, Canadian banks, CIBC, RBC, and then Bank of America. And basically they have figured out how to scale blockchain-like, but not blockchain, payments rail, where there's an unlimited amount of transactions that can be done at a time. There's no limitation, with costs of almost zero. So they are launching now for the streaming market. That's where they think their first addressable market's going to be. And they've already onboarded over 100 titles. They're basically going to go to the movie arena for content and documentaries. And they just launched in Cannes literally a month ago. So very, very fresh. We have another company called Hypercycle that is basically created the Internet of AI. So all AI systems and agents can speak to each other. And it is basically in the throes of launching as well. We have companies from AI to quantum computing, company Dynex, that's basically emulated what is done on a hardware basis using software for quantum. Very disruptive, very new. We have another company that we think is one of the biggest innovations in heart diagnostics, maybe the largest in 60 years. It's one of our companies that we're behind called AIML Innovations. It's a public company. And we believe ultimately, we're not going to make that claim today, but not in the near to future, through wearable technology, they're probably going to be able to predict patterns in your heart that would get ahead of when a heart attack or a heart stroke or any heart event could happen. And that company we're going to have come on your show as well, because they're launching in the next 30 days. These are just some examples. We have AI for smart cities. We have 60 companies in our portfolio, so I can't speak about them all today, but they're all in the throes of traction now, and we believe they're all going to become multi-bagger companies.
There's so many different, very important topics that are being addressed and very important problems that are being addressed with these types of companies and these size of companies. So why do you think now we're starting to see more and more activity and more interest coming back into the small cap world? What has, I guess, from a market perspective, what has changed? What has shifted back toward that size of project being in favor?
Yeah, so it's all about risk capital. And I think what we've seen in the last number of years is a lot of market volatility, starting with Russia invading Ukraine, and then the market got very uncertain. And we've had these cycles of volatility, which is very risk averse for people. They don't want to take risks because the smaller spectrum stocks always get hammered the worst. And what markets and I guess investors really don't like is illiquidity. Everybody wants liquidity. And there's been a lot of shakeouts. There was the tariff situation in America, and that now has all seemed to have shaken out Bitcoin, gold. Now everything is sort of in a bull market, and we're seeing the trickle down begin from whether it be the Dow or NASDAQ. The real players are there. People are believing and having confidence now that there's stability out there. There's velocity of money, interest rates, which are a function of inflation. The numbers have come down, so people aren't worried about interest rates going into double digits and the fear mongering. So that liquidity tends to give people the confidence, and then they take higher risk and they go down to smaller cap stocks.
So let's look out 3 months, 6 months down the road. What does this look like? What does this project look like? Where do you see we end up in that time frame?
I think we're going to be on a multi-year bull market when it comes to small companies, small cap. I think that we're going to see a lot of alternative investing as well that's acceptable. I think the AI revolution is we've just seen the beginnings of that. And it's going to result in efficiencies in market. It's going to, I believe, reduce the supply chain to the point where there's going to be less friction in doing commercial business, and companies are going to be extremely efficient and more productive and more profitable. And this is just going to really bring in many new companies with new applications. And I just think it's all the ingredients are there for a massive bull market in very small companies.
As we've seen, and as we started this off with, just the beginning, I think a lot more excitement, a lot more attention coming back into the small cap world in general. IDK, the ticker guys on the CSE. Sheldon Inwentash is CEO of 3D Capital. It's great to have you.
Oh, it was great to be here.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you very much, Sheldon. And that's one thing that we ask all the time around here, like, what's next? What's the next trade? What's the next idea? What's the next opportunity? And as trader investor, that's pretty much where you want to go. So we look forward to having Sheldon back on to talk more about some of those companies. Get them. We were just mentioning on the getting in early in spaces that have growth potential, future growth potential. And that's what you want to do, like understand it on an early basis, and then you can be good to go.